They will try to hold you back. Your family will doubt your ambitions. Your friends will question your decisions. Your colleagues will undermine your success. They'll say you're being unrealistic, too ambitious, not qualified enough. They will try to break you. Failures will come. Rejections will pile up. Betrayals will cut deep. Setbacks will feel insurmountable. Life will test your resolve in ways you can't imagine yet. They will try to stop you. Competitors will block your path. Gatekeepers will deny you access. Systems will work against you. Obstacles will appear at every turn. But here's the truth that changes everything. None of it matters. Nobody can actually hold you back unless you let them. Nobody can actually break you unless you break yourself. Nobody can actually stop you unless you stop moving. External forces have the power you give them, nothing more. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this 5 centuries ago. Exiled from Florence, tortured, stripped of power, banned from politics. He could have been broken. Instead, he wrote his masterwork. He turned his exile into immortality. He proved that external circumstances only win when internal resolve surrenders. Today, you'll discover Machiavelli's dark power lessons that make you impossible to hold back, impossible to break, and impossible to stop. These aren't comfortable lessons. They're not politically correct. They're not what motivational speakers tell you. They're what actually works. They're how you build power so deep that external resistance becomes irrelevant. But before we unlock these dark lessons, let me be absolutely clear. This knowledge is for those who refuse to be victims. It's for those who take responsibility for their outcomes regardless of circumstances. It's for those who understand that blaming external forces might feel good but accomplishes nothing. If you're looking for permission to blame others for your limitations, leave now. If you're looking for the power to transcend those limitations regardless of what others do, stay. Now I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. Nothing external determines my destiny. Before we continue, if you're done being held back and ready to become unstoppable, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel and ring that notification bell, and tell me in the comments who or what has been holding you back and what are you going to do about it after today. Share your commitment below. Now let's unlock the dark power lessons that make you unstoppable. Dark lesson 1: build power they can't take away. Most people build their identity, confidence, and power on external things. Their job title, their relationship status, their social position, others' approval. This is catastrophic because external things can be taken away. When they are, the person collapses. Machiavelli understood that real power must be internal and portable. Skills they can't fire you from, knowledge they can't revoke, mental strength they can't diminish, character they can't strip away. Here's what happens when power is external. Your identity is your job. You're a successful executive. Your confidence comes from that title and the respect it commands. Then you get fired. Suddenly you're nothing in your own eyes because your power was the position, and the position is gone. External power made you vulnerable. You can be held back, broken, and stopped by whoever controls that external power. Your confidence is others' approval. You feel good when people validate you. Your decisions are based on maintaining that approval. Then someone whose approval you sought turns against you. Your confidence crumbles because your power was their opinion, and opinions change. External power made you fragile. Diego, the 19th of November 2025, 7:32. Compare this to internal power. Your identity is your skills and character. You're someone who creates value through specific capabilities. You get fired. You're redisappointed but not destroyed because you still have the skills that created value before and will create value again. Internal power made you resilient. Nobody can hold you back because you carry your value with you. Your confidence is self-generated through competence. You feel good because you know you can perform. Someone disapproves of you. You're unbothered because your confidence doesn't depend on their opinion. Internal power made you unbreakable. The pattern is clear. External power can be taken, making you vulnerable. Internal power cannot be taken, making you unstoppable. Here's how you build internal power. First, develop skills that create value independent of any single employer, industry, or relationship. Learn things that make you valuable anywhere. Programming, writing, selling, analyzing, leading. These skills are yours forever. Nobody can revoke them. Second, build knowledge systematically. Read extensively. Study your field and adjacent fields. Understand principles that apply across contexts. Knowledge is portable power. You carry it wherever you go. Third, develop mental toughness through exposing yourself to challenges. Face rejection, handle failure, endure discomfort. Each exposure builds psychological strength that nobody can diminish. This internal resilience makes you unbreakable. Fourth, define your character by your values and maintain them consistently. Integrity, discipline, courage, whatever you choose. Character is the only thing fully within your control and the foundation of all lasting power. When your power is internal, nobody can hold you back by denying you positions. Nobody can break you by removing external supports. Nobody can stop you because you carry everything you need within yourself. Dark lesson 2. Make yourself unpredictably dangerous. Most people are predictable. Others know their limits, their boundaries, their breaking points. This predictability makes them controllable. If I know you'll back down from confrontation, I can use confrontation to stop you. If I know you need approval, I can withhold approval to hold you back. If I know your breaking point, I can push you to it. Machiavelli understood that unpredictability is power. When people don't know your limits, they can't safely test them. When they don't know your responses, they can't prepare against them. When they don't know what you're capable of, they hesitate to oppose you. Here's what predictability creates. You always back down from conflict. Everyone knows this about you. When someone wants to stop you, they simply create conflict. You predictably retreat. Your predictability made you controllable. They successfully held you back. You always respond proportionally. Someone undermines you slightly, you respond slightly. This predictable proportionality means they can keep undermining you incrementally without triggering serious response. Your predictability made you vulnerable. They successfully wear you down through small attacks that never trigger large retaliation. Compare this to strategic unpredictability. Sometimes you back down from conflict, sometimes you escalate dramatically. Nobody knows which version they'll get. People hesitate to create conflict with you because they can't predict whether you retreat or destroy them. Your unpredictability made you dangerous. They can't safely hold you back. Sometimes you respond proportionally. Sometimes you respond with overwhelming force to small provocations. Nobody knows when a minor action will trigger major consequences. People are very careful around you because the cost of testing you is unpredictable and potentially catastrophic. Your unpredictability made you feared. The pattern is clear. Predictability invites testing because others know the boundaries. Unpredictability prevents testing because others don't want to discover your boundaries the hard way. Here's how you become unpredictably dangerous. First, vary your responses. Don't always be nice or always be aggressive. Don't always accommodate or always confront. Mix your responses so nobody can count on any particular reaction from you. This unpredictability makes you harder to manipulate. Second, occasionally respond disproportionately to minor provocations. Someone makes a small move against you. Instead of proportional response, you respond overwhelmingly. This disproportionate response becomes a story people tell as a warning. Nobody knows when you'll escalate, so they're cautious about any provocation. Third, maintain strategic ambiguity about your capabilities. Don't reveal everything you can do. Let people wonder. Maybe you have connections you haven't mentioned. Maybe you have skills you haven't displayed. Maybe you have resources you haven't deployed. This uncertainty about your full capacity makes people hesitate to oppose you fully. Fourth, be comfortable with being called excessive, overreactive, or vindictive. These labels mean your unpredictability is working. People are uncomfortable because they can't control you through predictable patterns. Their discomfort is your power. When you're unpredictably dangerous, nobody can safely hold you back because they don't know what you'll do. Nobody can break you because they don't know where your breaking point is, or if you even have one. Nobody can stop you because opposing you carries unknown but potentially catastrophic costs. Dark lesson 3. Destroy the gatekeepers. In every path to success, there are gatekeepers. People who control access to opportunities. People who decide who gets chances and who doesn't. People whose approval you supposedly need. Most people accept gatekeepers as permanent obstacles. They seek to please them, convince them, wait for their permission. This makes gatekeepers powerful and keeps you dependent. Machiavelli understood that gatekeepers are only powerful when you need what they control. Destroy your dependence on them and you destroy their power over you. Here's what accepting gatekeepers creates. You want to advance in your career. Your boss is the gatekeeper who controls promotions. You spend years trying to please them, accommodate their preferences, and wait for them to promote you. They never do, or they keep you waiting indefinitely. The gatekeeper held you back because you accepted their authority as absolute. You want to enter an industry. Certain people control access through their networks and you spend years seeking their approval and endorsement. The gate keep you out, protecting their territory. The gatekeepers stopped you because you believed you needed them. Compare this to destroying gatekeepers. You want career advancement, but your boss won't promote you. Instead of waiting, you build skills and reputation that make you valuable to competitors. You get an offer elsewhere at a higher level. Your boss's gatekeeping became irrelevant because you built alternative paths. You destroyed their power by making it unnecessary. You want industry access, but gatekeepers exclude you. Instead of seeking their approval, you build your own platform. You create content, build an audience, demonstrate value directly to the market. The gatekeepers' approval became irrelevant because you bypassed them entirely. You destroyed their power by making the gate irrelevant. Diego, the 19th of November 2025, 7:32. The pattern is clear. Accepting gatekeepers gives them power to hold you back. Destroying your dependence on them removes that power. Here's how you destroy gatekeepers. First, never make any single person or group essential to your success. Always have alternative paths. If one gatekeeper blocks you, another path opens. This redundancy prevents any single gatekeeper from stopping you. Second, build direct access to value creation. If gatekeepers control traditional paths, create non-traditional paths. Use technology, platforms, networks that bypass traditional gatekeepers. When you can create and capture value without their permission, their gatekeeping becomes powerless. Third, make gatekeepers need you more than you need them. Develop capabilities so valuable that gatekeepers want to include you to benefit from you. This flips the power dynamic. They're no longer deciding whether to allow you access, you're deciding whether to grant them access to your value. Fourth, publicly succeed despite gatekeepers who tried to stop you. When you succeed after a gatekeeper denied you, their gatekeeping looks like poor judgment. This damages their credibility as gatekeepers and inspires others to bypass them too. You've not just destroyed their power over you, but weakened their power generally. When you destroy gatekeepers, nobody can hold you back by denying you access because you don't need their access. Nobody can break you by excluding you because you've built inclusion elsewhere. Nobody can stop you by blocking traditional paths because you've created alternative paths they don't control. Dark Lesson 4. Weaponize your darkest moments. Most people are broken by adversity. Failure devastates them, rejection destroys them, betrayal shatters them. They see dark moments as proof of their inadequacy. This perspective guarantees those dark moments accomplish the breaking they fear. Machiavelli understood that dark moments are raw material for power. Pain becomes fuel. Failure becomes education. Betrayal becomes wisdom. The darkest moments, when weaponized rather than internalized, create strength impossible to develop through comfort. Here's what happens when dark moments break you. You experience major failure. You interpret it as evidence you're not capable. This interpretation destroys your confidence. You stop trying at the level that failed. The dark moment broke you because you let it define you. You experience brutal rejection. You interpret it as evidence you're not worthy. This interpretation devastates your self-esteem. You don't risk rejection again. The dark moment broke you because you let it limit you. Compare this to weaponizing dark moments. You experience major failure. You extract every lesson from it. What went wrong? What do you need to learn? What do you need to change? You implement those lessons. The failure becomes your education. Next time you try at that level, you're equipped with knowledge that success would never have taught you. The dark moments strengthened you. You experience brutal rejection. You analyze what made you rejectable. You improve those aspects. You also recognize that rejection often says more about the rejector's preferences than your worth. You keep taking risks with improved skills and realistic expectations. The dark moment made you better. The pattern is clear. Internalizing dark moments breaks you. Weaponizing dark moments strengthens you. Here's how you weaponize darkness. First, every setback must be analyzed as data rather than internalized as identity. I failed is data. I am a failure is identity. One leads to learning, the other leads to breaking. Always frame setbacks as events that happened, not verdicts on who you are. Second, extract specific lessons from every dark moment. Vague learning like I need to be better accomplishes nothing. Specific learning like I need to improve X skill, change Y approach, and avoid Z mistake creates actionable improvement. Dark moments are only valuable if you extract concrete lessons. Third, implement lessons immediately through changed behavior. Learning without application is entertainment, not education. The person who learns from failure and immediately applies those lessons becomes formidable. The person who learns from failure and doesn't change remains fragile. Fourth, Develop gratitude for dark moments retroactively. In the moment, they're painful. Years later, you'll see they were necessary. The failure that devastated you at 25 built skills that enabled success at 30. The rejection that crushed you opened a door to something better. The betrayal that shattered you taught you wisdom that protected you forever. Dark moments, when weaponized, become the building blocks of unstoppable strength. When you weaponize darkness, nobody can break you with setbacks because setbacks make you stronger. Nobody can stop you with obstacles because obstacles become your training ground. Nobody can hold you back with adversity because adversity becomes your competitive advantage. Dark lesson 5. Become independently validated. Most people need external validation. They need others to tell them they're capable, worthy, successful, enough. This need makes them controllable. Withhold validation and they crumble. Provide validation and they're grateful. Machiavelli understood that external validation is enslavement. The person who needs others' approval is ruled by others. The person who validates themselves is ruled by no one. Here's what external validation creates. Your sense of worth depends on others' opinions. Someone criticizes you harshly, your self-worth plummets. Someone praises you effusively, your self-worth soars. Your internal state is completely controlled by external input. People can hold you back by withholding approval. They can break you by providing disapproval. Your need for validation made you vulnerable. Your confidence depends on visible success metrics. You're successful by external standards. You feel confident. The metrics decline. Your confidence disappears. Your emotional state is determined by circumstances outside your control. Life can hold you back by creating obstacles to visible success. It can break you by removing that success. Your dependence on external validation made you fragile. Compare this to independent validation. Your sense of worth is based on your values and whether you're living them. Someone criticizes you. You evaluate whether the criticism is valid. If not, you discard it. If so, you improve. Either way, your worth isn't questioned because it's based on your values, not their opinion. Nobody can break you with criticism because criticism doesn't determine your worth. Your confidence is based on your effort and process, not outcomes. You work hard on something and it fails. You're disappointed but not destroyed because your confidence came from knowing you gave full effort, not from the outcome. Outcomes are partially outside your control. Effort is fully within it. Nobody can hold you back by denying you outcomes because your confidence doesn't depend on them. The pattern is clear. External validation makes you controllable and fragile. Independent validation makes you unstoppable and unbreakable. Here's how you become independently validated. First, define your values explicitly and measure yourself against them. Are you living with integrity? Are you being courageous? Are you working hard? Are you treating people well? These are within your control. When you meet your own standards based on your values, you validate yourself. External opinion becomes interesting but not determinative. Diego, 19 de noviembre de 2025 las 7:32. Second, evaluate all feedback objectively rather than emotionally. When someone criticizes you, ask, is this valid? Not, does this mean I'm worthless? Valid criticism improves you. Invalid criticism gets discarded. Neither touches your fundamental worth. This objectivity about feedback prevents others from controlling you through approval or disapproval. Third, celebrate process and effort, not just outcomes. You can't always control results, you can always control effort. When you validate yourself for full effort regardless of outcome, you become emotionally independent of results. This allows you to take risks and persist through failure without breaking. Fourth, develop such strong self-knowledge that you know your capabilities and limitations better than anyone else. When you know yourself deeply, others' opinions about you become less relevant. They might know your public persona. Only you know your actual capabilities, your real efforts, your true character. Their opinion is based on limited information. Your self-validation is based on complete information. When you become independently validated, nobody can hold you back by withholding approval because you don't need it. Nobody can break you with criticism because criticism doesn't determine your worth. Nobody can stop you by creating obstacles because your confidence comes from within, not from external success. Dark lesson 6. Master strategic isolation. Most people fear being alone. They need constant social connection, validation, and support. This need makes them compromise, conform, and sacrifice their goals to maintain relationships. Machiavelli understood that fear of isolation is control mechanism. The person who can't tolerate being alone is controlled by anyone who can threaten that isolation. The person who masters strategic isolation is controlled by no one. Here's what fear of isolation creates. You pursue a goal, but your social circle disapproves. Fearing isolation, you abandon the goal to keep the relationships. Your fear of being alone held you back from what you wanted. Your relationships kept you comfortable but limited. You take a position that's unpopular in your group. Fearing exclusion, you abandon your position to maintain belonging. Your fear of isolation stopped you from standing for what you believed. Your need for acceptance made you controllable. Compare this to mastering strategic isolation. You pursue a goal your social circle disapproves of. You pursue it anyway, accepting that some relationships might end, some do end, others adapt. New relationships form with people on similar paths. Your willingness to be isolated allowed you to pursue your goal. Nothing held you back. You take an unpopular position you believe is right. You maintain it despite social pressure. Some people exclude you. You're comfortable with that isolation because your integrity matters more than their approval. Your mastery of isolation prevented them from stopping you. The pattern is clear. Fear of isolation makes you controllable through social pressure. Mastery of strategic isolation makes you unstoppable because social pressure loses power. Here's how you master strategic isolation. First, practice being alone regularly. Spend time with just yourself, your thoughts, your work. Build comfort with solitude. Most people can't tolerate their own company, so they need constant distraction and social connection. When you're comfortable alone, you don't need others, and this non-neediness creates power. Second, understand that real relationships survive pursuing your goals. Relationships that end because you pursued your dreams weren't real relationships. They were dependencies or conveniences that would have ended eventually anyway. Pursuing goals reveals which relationships are genuine. The genuine ones adapt. The false ones end. This filtering improves your life. Third, deliberately take positions you believe in even when unpopular. This practice builds your capacity to stand alone. Start small. Express a contrary opinion in a group. Take a stance others disagree with. Each practice builds your strength to be isolated without breaking. Fourth, develop such strong purpose that it matters more than social approval. When your mission is compelling enough, isolation becomes acceptable cost. The person driven by purpose tolerates isolation. The person driven by approval needs connection. Purpose makes you unstoppable. Approval seeking makes you controllable. When you master strategic isolation, nobody can hold you back by threatening social exclusion because you're not afraid of it. Nobody can break you by withdrawing approval because you don't need it. Nobody can stop you through social pressure because you've built the strength to stand alone. Dark Lesson 7. Build infinite persistence through process focus. Most people quit because they focus on how far they still have to go. The goal seems distant. Progress seems slow. The gap between current and desired states seems insurmountable. This focus on the destination makes the journey overwhelming and quitting likely. Machiavelli understood that persistence comes from process focus. The person focused on destination gets discouraged by distance. The person focused on daily process becomes unstoppable through accumulation. Here's what destination focus creates. You want to build a business. You focus on the end goal. Successful company, financial freedom, impact. Every day you measure yourself against that distant destination. After months of work, you're still far from the goal. The gap is discouraging. You start doubting whether you'll ever make it. Eventually you quit. Destination focus broke you because the gap never closed fast enough. You want to master a skill. You focus on the end goal, expert level capability. Every practice session you measure yourself against experts. You're still far from their level. The gap is demoralizing. You feel like you're not making progress. Eventually you stop practicing. Destination focus stopped you because improvement wasn't visible against the distant goal. Compare this to process focus. You want to build a business. You focus on daily process. Make X calls, create Y content, improve Z systems. Every day you measure yourself against whether you executed the process. After months of work, you've executed the process hundreds of times. You feel accomplished because you've hit your daily targets. You persist because daily wins create momentum. Process focus made you unstoppable through accumulation. You want to master a skill. You focus on daily practice. Study X minutes. Complete Y exercises. Get Z feedback. Every practice session, you measure against whether you did the work. You execute the process consistently. You feel progress through daily completion. You persist because the work feels manageable and you're winning daily. Process focus made you unbreakable through consistency. The pattern is clear. Destination focus creates discouragement through visible gaps. Process focus creates persistence through daily wins. Here's how you build process focus. First, define daily actions that move you toward goals and make those actions your measure of success. Don't measure success by how close you are to the goal. Measure success by whether you executed today's process. This reframe makes every day winnable.
Diego, 19 de noviembre de 2025, las 7:32.
Second, celebrate process completion religiously. When you complete your daily process, acknowledge it as a win. This creates positive reinforcement that makes persistence sustainable. Most people only celebrate destination arrival. By then they've quit. Celebrate process execution and you'll persist until arrival. Third, make process so clear and specific that it's either done or not done with no ambiguity. Vague process like work on business is hard to measure. Specific process like make 10 calls, write 1 article, improve 1 system is binary. This clarity makes daily wins clear. Fourth, detach emotional state from distance to goal and attach it to process execution. Feel good when you execute process regardless of visible progress toward goal. Feel bad only when you fail to execute process. This emotional reframe makes persistence sustainable because you're getting daily dopamine from process execution rather than waiting for distant goal achievement that might take years. When you build infinite persistence through process focus, nobody can hold you back because you're not focused on their obstacles. You're focused on your daily process. Nobody can break you because your confidence comes from daily execution, not distant achievement. Nobody can stop you because you're not trying to get there fast. You're committing to executing process until you arrive, however long it takes. You've now learned 7 dark power lessons that make you impossible to hold back, break, or stop. But here's what separates people who know these lessons from people who embody them. Implementation. Knowledge without action is worthless. Here's your commitment right now. Choose 1 lesson that resonates most. Maybe you need to build internal power. Maybe you need to become unpredictably dangerous. Maybe you need to destroy a gatekeeper. Maybe you need to weaponize a dark moment. Maybe you need independent validation. Maybe you need to master isolation. Maybe you need process focus. Choose 1 and implement it today. Build 1 internal skill. Respond unpredictably to 1 situation. Create 1 alternative path around a gatekeeper. Extract 1 lesson from a past failure. Validate yourself based on your values once. Practice being alone for an hour. Execute 1 day of defined process. 1 implementation today starts your transformation from stoppable to unstoppable. Then tomorrow, implement again, and the next day, and the next. These lessons become power through consistent application, not intellectual understanding. But remember the ultimate truth. Nobody can hold you back except you. Nobody can break you except you. Nobody can stop you except you. External forces have the power you give them. Machiavelli's dark lessons don't give you power over others. They remove others' power over you. They make you internally strong, strategically unpredictable, independently capable, independently capable, emotionally resilient, socially independent, and infinitely persistent. That combination is unstoppable. The world will test you. People will doubt you. Circumstances will challenge you. But none of it will hold you back because you've built internal power they can't touch. None of it will break you because you've weaponized adversity into strength. None of it will stop you because you've mastered persistence through process. You become the immovable object and the unstoppable force simultaneously. If this video gave you the power to become unstoppable, hit that like button. If you're committed to building power, nothing can diminish. Subscribe and ring that notification bell. Drop a comment. Which of these 7 lessons do you need most, and what's 1 action you're taking today to implement it? Your commitment might inspire someone else to become unstoppable too.
Diego, 19 de noviembre de 2025, las 7:32.
Until next time, remember, the only person who can hold you back is you. The only person who can break you is you. The only person who can stop you is you. Everyone and everything else is just testing whether you'll do it to yourself. Refuse, build internal power, become dangerous, destroy gatekeepers, weaponize darkness, validate yourself, master isolation, focus on process, be unstoppable.